Hello, beautiful Lovetarian. This is NataliaPH, and we are broadcasting live again. Today we are going to talk about Pillar 4 of the Lovetarian way, Lovetarian Nourishment. And I will jump right into it, but first we are going to do what we are always doing. We are going to get centered and grounded into beautiful Mother Earth. And we are going to invoke our higher selves. I have already done it, as I always do it before my broadcasting, and I'm encouraging you to do the same so that we can be truly empowered, present, and balanced, okay, in this moment in time. So take 3 deep breaths with me, in through your nose and out through your mouth, and imagine that you are grounding into the core of Mother Earth while your higher self is coming from the 7th plane in the beautiful pillar of light. Okay, so let's do that and let's get really centered. Let's do it together now. 3 deep breaths. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being very present here with me now. What I would like to ask you is, if you are watching this live, give StreamYard permission to show your name so that I can see who I'm interacting with. If you would be commenting. In general, I normally don't interact during broadcasts because that is rather distracting. However, I will always, of course, reply to all your comments and all your reflections, okay? So just give up permission to StreamYard to show your name, then I can see it better, and that would be fantastic. Great, so if we have that out of the way, I would like to talk to you today about Pillar 4 of the Lovetarian way. Since last week's broadcast, actually, I have changed the name of the pillar because I got further insights, and we are all on a journey. We are all on a journey, and the Lovetarian way, everything is evolving. I am evolving, I am growing, I am healing. New insights are coming all the time. Just as the Lovetarian way came to me in a deep meditative state at the beginning of the year, and I was really truly inspired to create the movement around it, right? As you know from other broadcasts. So now, even 1 week ago still, I had the name for this pillar, Whole Foods Plant-Based Nutrition. And it is absolutely so that it is still there. However, it became very, very obvious to me, very clear, that to actually fully, completely take care of our being, we need to look at this multidimensionally, and we are obviously focusing on that in 3 other pillars. However, nourishment, Lovetarian nourishment, is much more than whole foods plant-based nutrition. It is about plant-based nutrition, but there are other things that we need to take under consideration when we are talking about nourishing, right? And not only our body, but our minds and our spirits, our souls, the entire being is really nourished. I had prepared a little presentation for you, so I'm going to be looking at my screen right now while I'm showing you the slides. So I will explain while I'm talking to you. I'm going to share my screen with you. Let's see, share screen. And Google Chrome tab, nourishment, and boom, there we go. I hope that you can see it. This is a list of things that nourish our bodies, our minds, and our spirit. You can see that it is all about vibration at the end of the day, because we are vibrational beings that are vibrating at different frequencies, correct? Everything is vibration and everything is frequency, whether it's your thoughts, it's the feelings, it's the words, it's the foods, whatever it is. And there are things that have lower vibrations and there are things that have high vibrations. And by that definition, of course, if we're going to nourish ourselves with high vibrations, be it emotions such as love, gratitude, abundance mentality, joy, being at peace, all those will increase our vibration. And if we're going to do the opposite, right, our vibration lowers and it doesn't nourish our beings. You know very well, when you look at this list of raising vibration, you can recognize so easily the things that you do every day yourself and you thrive. You feel amazing when you're laughing, when you are dancing, when you're meditating, when you're doing yoga, when you're eating beautiful foods that you prepared with love. And of course, as I said previous to this broadcast several times, my preference, my Lovetarian preference when it comes to foods is whole foods, plant-based. I do not eat animals. I choose not to eat animals because for me, not only is it that I love animals very much and they are my friends, and so it happens I don't eat my friends, therefore I'm not going to make that choice, but also animals, when they are being, shall we say, selected for food, this whole process is not happening in a very loving way, and animals are oftentimes suffering, and unfortunately then the food is also going to be saturated with that emotion. Whether you believe it or not, certain things are true whether you believe that or not. And when we look at different scans of emotions and living things, like how, for example, plants thrive when you speak to them with love, or how well, even you don't need to look at scans. You can start talking to your dog or to your cat with love, and they will react to you completely differently as opposed to when you start shouting and you get angry and so on. So now if you're, by the way, not eating your cat or not eating your dog, the question is, why would we be eating cows, piglets, and all those other animals, right? I mean, it's all animals. This is something that I'm going to leave for you to decide how you feel about it. However, I had decided to absolutely 100% focus and live that way for the last 8 years. And I have been more and more focused on only eating plants. This year we had decided to completely 100% focus on whole foods, plant-based, and we feel so uplifted. We feel so much more filled with light. Inspiration comes easier for me. Same with my husband, so you need to test yourself on your body what is nourishing your being. Well, I can tell you for sure, 100%, whatever you are eating, whatever your nourishing diet is going to be, you want to choose foods that are vibrating high. Those will be fresh foods, fresh enzymes in those foods, right? Fresh vegetables, fruits. Here you have some examples like figs, raisins, strawberries. Those things are really actually specifically raising vibration. I mentioned Ho'oponopono the other day in Pillar 1 and Pillar 2. Ho'oponopono is an ancient healing technique from Hawaii, and it actually has a cleaning tool, and one of the cleaning tools that it has, it's drinking blue water. Blue water, when you're drinking blue water, and what is blue water? You basically take a blue glass bottle, and you put that bottle with water, ideally filtered, you put it in the sun for a period of several hours, and it will really get nourished by the energy of the light and the sun. And then once you drink it, obviously not only is it bringing vibration up, but it's also cleaning your entire being through time and space, your memories, the programming. It will, of course, only happen if you choose to believe it. Then we're coming back to the algorithm of creation. You need to choose to believe if you're willing to give it a go and actually say to yourself, yes, I'm going to be open and receptive to the results, because that will be already half the success. The stuff actually works. As I said, certain things actually do work whether we believe them or not. Example, if you are going to jump from 10th floor of the building, whether you believe it or not, well, you're going to die. Your body is going to go, right? That's a fact. We can discuss it till tomorrow ends. It's a fact, undeniable fact. So there are certain things that are obviously, without any participation on our parts, they simply work or they don't work. However, we have a free will to choose how we're going to be nourishing our bodies emotionally, mentally, physically, all those things we actually have influence on. And here I'm giving you a nice little list where you can get some great remarks on what foods to eat, what activities to implement in your life to feel so much better, to really walk the Lovetarian walk easier and talk the talk easier. Because, you know, there are a lot of fearful energies in the field right now. This is a time of huge changes, of big turbulence, opportunity, of course, if you're willing to look at it this way, to raise above fear and really live from love and light. And that is the Lovetarian way. So our job, the Lovetarian job, is to really take care of our body as well, because we're walking in this body. This is the temple of our spirit, correct? So you want to give it Lovetarian nourishment. And I have prepared a list for you of things that will uplift you and things to avoid, absolutely avoid, not to feel, well, bad. No judgment, of course. You can feel anger, you can feel resentment, you can feel sadness, you can feel depressed sometimes. Oh, gosh knows that I do sometimes. But then, do we want to perpetuate that state, or do we want to use our free will and change it? And one of the ways to change it is to then choose one of those beautiful nourishments, whether it's going to be food, or it's going to be fresh air, it's going to be exercise, dancing, laughter, whatever you want. You have a very long list, right? The choice is ours. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about, research that, the book that Louise Hay had written. She is, well, one of my mentors. I mean, that woman, I have been following her teachings for, well, several decades. And before I got smart, really smart, and I started to follow it, I had to suffer a lot. But once actually a friend of mine gave me her book, I believe 11 years ago, yes, when the whole journey started. So it was one of the first books in my adult, mature life to really look into and see how I can nourish my being by thinking and feeling differently, by choosing different emotions, and then seeing and observing how that influences my body. So I really highly want to recommend that book to you. I also have my copy here. And really, if you haven't read it, this is one of those books that you really, really want to familiarize yourself with. I'll give you some examples of what Louise Hay is talking about. She has always been making a connection between emotional state and how we think, and then what happens in our body. Different parts of the bodies are obviously storing different emotions. So I have one page here, page 175, and you can see yourself what happens when you have issues with your heart, or when you have a heartburn, or when you have such a lovely thing as hemorrhoids. You can see what those represent. When those emotions gather and there are energy blockages in our body, in different body parts, you will have different symptoms, and they will represent your emotional state, right? So heart, for example, if you have heart problems, you've been having long-standing emotional problems. This is a no-brainer, right? But no joy in your life. A lot of people that have heart attacks, they are oftentimes not very truly happy people, and they don't have enough fun. You know, they're very serious or very committed and determined, and then boom, heart attack, right? So the balance is not really kept. My grandfather got heart attack. And to be honest, if I were not a doctor, but it was so obvious to me that the reason why he got a heart attack was because he was so very sad. I told a story of my grandfather in another broadcast, but basically, long story short, once my grandma died, his joy of life disappeared, and he was alive after she died a few years, but he was drinking, he resented life, complete misery, I'm telling you. So then he got a heart attack. What we can do whenever we are not feeling so good, there is, of course, the power of our words, and there is the power of our thoughts, and we can reverse it by using the algorithm of creation that I have been talking about over and over again. We can choose different thoughts, we can choose different words, and Louise Hay had suggested throughout her long life to use affirmations. You can also use incantations. Incantations are turbocharged affirmations. When you combine the words and the sentences that you're saying with the movement, with raising your voice, with, you can even scream it in joy. You can dance. So when you combine all those factors together, you can really shift your emotional state. So if you're depressed, what is a good thing to do? Well, make up your mind, say, I'm choosing to be feeling better. I don't know, jump on a treadmill, go for a jog, start dancing, and then you can even say those affirmations, or you can use empowering questions. You can say, why am I not feeling so good? And you can just have a game with yourself. You can play a game with yourself. And when you start affirming, incanting, asking yourself different questions, why am I not feeling better? Why do I not want to feel better? Maybe I should be feeling better, Maybe I want to feel better. You play a game with yourself. You change your state. I have done it a gazillion times. It works. It works. It works. It works. The question is if you are willing to let it work for you, because this stuff works, and it worked for a gazillion of my clients, and they are so much happier for it. So give it a go and try. Look at that list again. The recording is available for you, of course. So choose whatever you want to increase your vibe. Combine all those things that we're talking about. Get Louise's book if you don't have it. It is a classic. It is a book that every Lovetarian, well, I don't like to use the word should, but I'm going to say it, should have, because it's like one of those classics that are very uplifting for us, okay? And then you can see there is pages upon pages of what is happening with your body when you are having pain in your shoulders, in your sinus, in your back, whatever, so you can check. And it's really empowering. And then she gives suggestions, what affirmations to use to turn it around. And I give you a further suggestion to even turbocharge those affirmations and turn them into empowering questions and incantations. Sing them even. The power of your voice is the creative power that you have. And depending how you're going to talk, whether it's going to be with joy, enthusiasm, or sadness, depressive voice, that will also make a huge difference. Again, when you look at the algorithm of co-creation, please do, you will know what I'm talking about. When you put yourself in a good state as opposed to the negative state, right? It means no judgment. It's not right or wrong. It is what it is. However, the difference in your life is going to be tremendous. So choose Lovetarian Nourishment always. And here is another slide that actually explains what happens when we are starting to feel good and we are in an upward spiral, as opposed to when we are starting to feel, when we're not feeling good, and then we are affirming more and more that state. Because believe you me, when I tell you that everything that you're saying is an affirmation, you might think when you say, oh, I'm feeling depressed and I don't feel like doing anything and I have a headache or whatever. And okay, so you keep just saying it factually. However, your words are powerful and they actually do create reality. Really, they do. So if you would be willing to turn this around, instead of saying, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm beaten like a dog, you can turn it around and say, I am in the process of opening myself to the possibility of feeling better. Okay, because you need to say it in a way that you are willing to work with that. If you're going to just try to, from a state of fear, grief, depression at the bottom scale, you're going to try to jump to joy and total enthusiasm. That is a huge vibrational gap. So you might want to, go poco a poco, little by little, so that you can raise. I hope that makes sense. Try that. All this recording is available, and go a little by little. What I suggest to my clients often with raising their vibration is starting with a little thought. Like, if they don't feel very good, they stop, they pause, and say, okay, which of the Lovetarian nourishment I can use that Natalia was talking about? Maybe I'm going to have some water. I'm going to do this deep breathing that she's talking about. Maybe I'm going to have some lovely chocolate. Of course, as dark as possible, and ideally if you can make them yourselves, which I'm going to come to in a minute. I will have in my recipe section very, very good recipe for chocolates that are healthy and highly vibrational. No white sugar in them, no refined nothing. Everything is raw and it's alive, right? So such things you can do. Maybe you go for a walk, do a little dancing, and you start with that little thought, I'm open to changing my state. I choose not to feel like that. I'm going to do some work to do something about it. And then you start, with more thoughts, and you go higher, higher, higher. Said, why is it possible for me to feel better? What could I do to feel better? And you start asking your consciousness questions, and ideas will start coming to you. And I promise you that if you're willing to test it, if you're willing to test the nourishment, Lovetarian nourishment, you will be feeling better and better and better. Seriously, it is all about practicing. Okie dokie. Next slide. What have we got more? Yes, that's what I wanted to tell you, because I've been talking to you at the beginning that we have changed the name of fourth pillar from whole foods plant-based to the Lovetarian nourishment. And that, of course, includes all the beautiful plant-based foods. I have been creating those recipes forever. I made one big, I don't like to use the word mistake, but for the purpose of argument, let's say fine, I made a mistake by not writing everything down as I was going, because I get so into the process, I get so inspired that I just didn't bother. A friend of mine told me that there is an application I could download and I can actually talk while I'm cooking, and the application will be writing it down for me. So instead, I made this a little bit more difficult for myself, and I had to recreate everything again as I was cooking and writing it down now. Instead of writing for years what I've been making, I have started this recently. But it's not a problem, because I do it every day, 3 meals per day. So there will be plenty, and there's already several recipes written down, several dozens. And a beautiful team of mine is creating now a page on my blog where you can access all those beautiful recipes. It is a free membership, and I will announce it as soon as it's up. It should just be a few days. You will have several recipes already there from the start. Then you can opt in for this free membership. You can leave your name and number, and we will be sending you new recipes practically on bi-weekly or even 3 times per week basis. So you will have really, really cool stuff. And it's actually something that I made myself. I have made it many times. So this stuff actually tastes good, and it's very nutritious, and it's very balanced. All the micro all the nutrients are there. Sometimes, I am so into my speech that I'm really not that I'm forgetting words, even though English is not my native language. Sometimes I catch myself thinking in English, and sometimes I catch myself thinking in Spanish, and sometimes in Polish. I'm Polish, so I had to pause for a second and find a word. It would be funny, wouldn't it, if I start speaking Polish or Spanish to you? It could happen. It could happen. It's possible. But going back on the topic, here are some pictures of the recipes that you will soon be able to find, and they are very balanced. As I said, you will. Some people sometimes, if they are not aware, they believe that maybe they don't get enough protein or they don't get enough of certain nutrients on plant-based nutrition. I want to point this out really, really, really strongly. You have more than abundant protein in plant-based foods. You have more than abundant amount of any nutrients that you actually really need to thrive. What you will need to do when you are really going into plant-based, you will need to implement what is called whole foods plant-based nutrition. So a minimum amount of processed stuff. You really want to focus on the goodness from Mother Nature. One label ingredients, and if you're going to be buying things that are processed, like tofu or vegan meats. That's why I don't call myself a vegan, because, I don't want to eat any vegan meats. I don't want to eat meat anything. I just want to eat fresh things that are coming from Mother Nature, ideally, if possible, to find. And I'm lucky to be able to have that organic, all of it organic, and one ingredient stuff. So I'm making everything myself. Okay, I'm soaking my beans. I'm making sure that I'm making as many dishes from zero as possible. Of course, there's time also that comes into equation. So we all need to also be practical. At the same time, I also like supporting organic supermarket that I have next door. The more I buy from them, the more they can thrive, right? So there's that balance. But you don't need to worry about being deficient in any nutrients, because all that we are to be eating is there. If you're eating a full plate of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, legumes, everything is there. The only thing you will need to be doing after a while is supplementing by B12 vitamin. By the way, a lot of meat eaters would actually benefit from B12 supplementation as well, because it is not that the animals have it. We all get it from the soil, from the microbes in the soil, right? So, in fact, if we had our own garden with beautiful organic soil, we wouldn't even have to take B12 supplement. I have been a plant-based eater for how long now? For 8 years. And I checked my B12 levels and they're perfectly fine. Still very high. So, it's not something that you need to think about right away and immediately. You need to take it easy. When you're transitioning, start with one meal. Okay, start with your breakfast or start with your lunch. Start adding more legumes, more vegetables, more fruits. It's better. It's always better to add as opposed to just remove, And the most important thing, and really this is the most important thing, whatever you are eating, really you need to use the nourishing part of it, emotional nourishing part of it. So you need to bless your food. You need to show gratitude for your food. You need to be appreciative that the food is good if you are eating animals. And I would really hope that you stop. If you do, show gratitude to the animal. Okay, say thank you for this animal's life to nourish you. Okay, just at least do that, because that will, your attitude towards food makes such a huge difference. So even people, I will give you some examples of people who are eating horrible foods all their life and they thrive. You know what the difference is with these people as opposed to people who, for example, eat super healthfully and die of cancer? Joy of life, appreciation, relaxation, completely different attitude. When people are eating, only salads and plants, and they are cursing, they are upset about their life, they are frustrated, they are fearful, they switch to eating plants because they are so stressed, they might as well manifest diseases. Although all statistics available and all science available show us that vegans, plant-based eaters are the healthiest population that exists on planet Earth. There, it's just hands down. You can go to all the statistics you want, and plant-based diet is actually the only one that has the most abundant amount of studies and evidence in existence of people that are really the healthiest. The amount of cancer, diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular diseases, down, 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 down. Okay, so if people would, 99% of people, if they switch to plant-based nutrition, do you know how much we would save ourselves on healthcare, and how many diseases could actually be eradicated? I'm serious. Look at the China study, the biggest nutritional study in existence with the biggest population. Look at that. Read the Blue Zones, book about the Blue Zones, where people live the longest all over the world, where they live the longest. What is the answer? Lovetarian Nourishment, okay? Most of them eat most of the time plants. They have joy of living. They love life. They are having a sense of community, okay? They are enjoying themselves. So you see what I mean? Even if you're adding some meat, you need to have the right attitude also to that meal and to anything you eat. You know, love your salads, love your food, love yourself, and really infuse it with highly vibrational emotions and activities as well. So those are the recipes that I'm going to be sharing with you soon. You can see there is really everything there, from desserts to salads to pizza, whatever you like, you will be able to find there. And that is why we are asking you in the group, tell us what your favorite meals are, and we will create, you know, plant-based variations, because I have been nourishing my body, as I said, for 8 years with plant-based, and there's one person I shall find who would not like that food. And I'm talking about meat eaters and fish eaters, whomever. They come and they try the food, and they are very surprised by the variety, by the taste. And also when I make parties, you know, there is such a spread. They are amazed and in awe of the variety and the flavors and the beauty, because it is so pretty, it's colorful, and it's rich, and it's fresh, and it's just Lovetarian. I mean, what can I tell you? It just is Lovetarian. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm gonna be back focused on camera like this. But basically, I have told you what I wanted to tell you. You know, if you liked what you hear here, if you like the recipes, I will be sharing soon how you can get access to the membership. It's a free membership for a while at least. I will also be releasing a booklet eventually, and I'm working on my book, The Lovetarian Way, the first book about the Lovetarian Way. So very busy here, very excited to be sharing this with you, and I really, really, truly hope that you are always choosing to live the Lovetarian way, because this is the only way that really benefits everyone. You, people that you love, people that you care about, the world, planet Earth, animals, everyone, really. It's the only win that I can think of, you know. When you truly love yourself and love other people, love animals, love planet Earth, love your life, everybody thrives, and we are literally ascending and creating heaven on earth. Okay, beautiful. Please share. Let us know what you think. Let me know what you think. And I will see you next week. I wish you a beautiful weekend and talk to you then. Namaste. Much love. Thank you so much.